went to them for help, when they promised they would help, who didn't take the time that they said they would, who stuck me with people that were violent, irate, pissed off. That things had nothing to do with me. On the front of this is a picture of Joanna Taylor Smith, aka JoJo Smith. Or JoJo Taylor, depending on which profile. She's got more than one. Anyway, she was one of the people who is in a lot of my stories. She was witness to the situation, to the fact that I was trying to get help. She was also a witness to the things that they did to try to get help, or to try to help me. But the problem is that instead of listening to understand, I was expected to listen to bullshit. If a woman's being victimized, is that the bullshit that you give her? No, if a woman is victimized, you will help her right away to make a police report. You don't play stupid like you don't know how. With a man, well, you get to see, in a lot of these situations where I helped women out of very fucked up situations, it was nearly all men who helped them. If a woman helped out, it was maybe to pack boxes. I've been dealing with a lot of sexism, a lot of hatred, and I get that a lot of other people didn't want to deal with it. Why is it that they're afraid of that? It's because they know it's true. They know what to be afraid of. They know to be afraid more of a woman's opinion than of the law. The same thing with many of these mandated reporters. They do have to be afraid of a woman's opinion more so than the law, because the law is more likely to listen to a woman than a man. While their own studies show that men are the more likely victims, that's not what is presented to the public by the police. What's presented to the public is that it's not really that they're victimizing men. Oh no, they would never do that. No, it's really that these homeless men are the problem. You even hear yourselves. It's the mentally ill that are a problem. Meanwhile, people with quote-unquote mental illnesses are less likely to be violent, more likely to be the victims of violent crimes. And the reason they are more likely to be victims of violent crimes is because they are less likely to be heard. They are more likely to be blown off as if they are retarded, especially at a facility. Do you know why? Because those are quote-unquote professionals. They will be given professional courtesy when someone tries to turn them in. That means you give the facility the benefit of the doubt that staff members are picture perfect, when in reality, even their own mandated reporter training shows that that's illegal as fuck. The victim telling you that they were abused is 100% of the time supposed to be cause for them to act, especially in the case of an at-risk or disabled adult. By disabled adult, that means a physically or mentally disabled individual who is in an at-risk situation. Why I'm in an at-risk situation? Because I was made a target. People didn't care what was true or not. They cared who was pretty. Anyway, I'm here to get some supplies. And it does not look like I have anything but piles and piles of paperwork. Oh my God, this is such a wonderful book. This was what me and Jamie Curtis were working on. Kind of a concept idea so that victims of these crimes, survivors, will have a place to live. Kind of the idea is the ability to get water from the rain most effectively used, but it's also to create an outer wall that you can grow fruit and trees on. It's based on a Roman marching fort. They would build one every night on the march and take it down every morning. This be the inside, this be the outside. I always liked the idea of growing food on it instead, though. Blackberries on the outside. But you can do it in stages. And Jamie thought this was a wonderful idea. There's different ideas here drawn out based on what kind of materials are in the ground. There's also the idea of how to raise an awning and how to camouflage it with plants that are hanging, and how to circulate the water in through sand the way the Romans did, so that you can get fresh water at the top. Kind of a cross-section of how it works. This is based on a vellum, which is Roman, and also a way to lift it. I'm not sure how good the quality is here. Jamie had this at her house. This was something we were both kind of thinking about making. Here's one where if they don't have much topsoil, but they got a lot of brambles and stuff, you can cover the brambles. You'll just have to fill it in every few years as it settles. Different types of ovens from different eras, different functions. Japanese version. Some Japanese style woodwork. Different types of archways that I studied from old medieval buildings. Anyway, I got to get back inside. I'm pretty sure what I need is already up there. I just didn't look hard enough. One of the things I needed was a pencil. I did finally find one. Anyway, Jared's up there reading some of the stuff from jail. That's all under the category of Scott DaCosta. That's in Nebraska. They're one of the departments that was involved in the situation both before and after Natalie was killed. And through all of it, heavily invested in playing the suicide thing instead of doing something about the abuse I was trying to turn in. Playing like I was trying to commit suicide. No, I absolutely wasn't. I was trying to get help stopping abuse. But they don't listen when you explain that. You're mentally ill and you're a male. They act like they are fucking insulted that you went to them because you have a penis. How dare you go to the cops about abuse, especially by a girl. Well, it's not just by a girl. It's her and her friends. She wanted to play like I might hurt her. Meanwhile, her own predators are giving her fucking drugs. The same predators that she was trying to get away from. The whole reason that she went to fucking Virginia was to get away from Tim Beeson and her own dad and her Uncle Troy. She couldn't get off the drugs as long as she was around people that were on drugs. I even quit smoking pot before I went there. 2 weeks before I went to Virginia, I quit smoking pot, and I was sober the whole time I was there, motherfuckers. But you know what? They didn't care about that. Because there was even a mention of pot. They write down pot, and then of course pot is their excuse. Oh, it was pot, it was pot. And it was that I was fucking dehydrated. Pot ain't that big a thing. It ain't that important. Is it charging? Yes, this is. I had to start another one because my phone died, so it stopped recording.
You're good.
You're still reading?
Yeah.
There's a lot of those. All right, I'll set this down. That way it records the ceiling instead of you guys. One of the big issues is I keep being forced to do this in public. It's not appropriate to do it in public.
Yeah.
And of course that gets me ostracized and hated. And then there's the fact that here in Tillamook, a lot of those racist old guys didn't realize that people don't like that as much as they don't like it until they were recorded on my channel at McDonald's or at Fred Meyer's being racist assholes. They were talking about shooting people in McDonald's and illegal firearms and crap, and I'm like, man, that's fucked up. So I was, of course, recording at the time. But see, that's the thing, you know, I'm against killing people. I'm against shooting people, and everywhere I go, it's this stuff and the anti-gay stuff.
Well, when you're raised around it.
That's true, but that's also no excuse. I was raised around child molesters, rapists, and drug dealers. I don't rape children. I don't molest children. I don't rape
haven't
adults.
shot nobody, but if it came down to it, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
And see, that's the thing with most people. I'm already aware most people wouldn't have a problem with it, or at least in concept.
Well, I was trained. My dad was a Marine Corps drill sergeant. And from the time I remember, I was getting him dressed. I was fixing his coffee, his breakfast, and stacking wood, cutting wood, and being taught several things on survival and being groomed to be a Marine. And because I don't have fear for death, I'm all broken up because I drove a car off a cliff because a girl broke up with me.
Isn't it always over a woman? That's where most fights come from, too.
And so
Brian Farmer and Jared Wallace got killed over a woman.
I was young and dumb. I was still in high school. I was young and dumb. But the recruiter called me while I was in the hospital bed. And I said, I'll be ready soon. He goes, what's all wrong with you? I told him. He says, so you got metal in your body? I said, yes. He goes, we can't use you. And I go, why? He says, because you'll set off the mines. I said, well, at least I'd be serving my country. And they didn't like that. Wait a minute. I was brought up the old way. Don't have fear for death, of death.
I don't fear death. I feel fear leaving with all this stuff going on. And I don't like living with it going on, especially when I'm the target of so much of it. And it's because I'm easy to target. I'm stuck in public. A lot of people don't want to be recorded. You know, they want to record things that happen to them and hope somebody's recording it when something bad happens to them. Well, when they're being a Karen, no, they don't want anybody catching that. A lot of the stuff right now, people are going, oh, well, maybe they should just take it at a gym so that it's illegal to carry a camera in a gym, because a lot of women are doing this stuff where they're going into gyms and trying to play victim for some TikTok ratings and literally destroying men's lives to the point they blow their heads off. So the new idea is to make sure there's no cameras in the gyms. But that's a bad idea, because if those women that were literally recorded themselves being pieces of crap like that, if it hadn't been for them recording it, then those men would have been harmed. The police would have been called. Those men would have been taken away as if they had done something wrong. It would have been her word versus theirs. I mean, not you necessarily, but really, how often is it that a woman will take advantage of beating on a man repeatedly in public and a man is afraid to do anything back? We're taught that it's never okay to hit a woman, while we teach girls that, hey, you get to hit once for free. And you know, that, like I said, is one of the reasons that lesbian relationships get so violent. All right. Let's see why it's not loading up. Okay, maybe it's doing it now. All right, there's. Is it?
While I was in the store, Vicky
Yep.
Rain decided to drop all of my things off for me. That was very kind of her. I don't think this is exactly the best way to do it, though.
All right, maybe this is it. All right, there it is. I was coming out with my drinks.
Well,
I'm gonna pause this for a moment just to say, like, when I'm out in my car having a panic attack, scared shitless, especially with, like, if I'm there for too long, they say you're just hanging out, even if I'm a customer. Those old guys that come into the Starbucks in Fred Meyer's every morning, they'll come in for hours on end, and, you know, one or two of them will buy something. And, like, for me, if I do that, I'm a horrible person. There have been multiple people who I've seen that are literally there all day long that never get bothered. But then a lot of the stuff that I have to do takes time. The stuff that I record live, like that right there, that's easy. It's done. It's instant. With this, just audio recording it and turning it into a video so I can put it on YouTube takes 2 days. And, you know, when I go out to my car, when I'm having a panic attack, I'm not safe to drive. And I try explaining that I am not safe to drive, and they don't try to understand the safety risks and issues. And then when something happens, because they didn't listen to those safety risks and issues, they tell me it's my fault. I'm magically cognitive and sane at that point. Then when it comes to making a police report, they blow me off like I'm a retard. They'll say, oh, well, you sound cognitive to me. And then later on, when they want to pretend that I'm crazy, you know, they go, oh, well, he's obviously delusional. If I go to the hospital here, obviously small town, you got what, 7 officers, 6 police officers, and one sheriff, right?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the same as Chapel, Nebraska. They have no more than 7 cops at any one point in time, but it's only the sheriff's department. That's for the whole county. But it's only 2 towns. Chapel, Nebraska is about 500 people, and Big Springs is about 290 people, I think. So, I mean, it's a very small town. Everybody knows everybody, and if they decide they don't like you, it's just like here. People are raised that way, and that's the way it's going to be. Unfortunately, it's also unconstitutional, immoral, and illegal. So that's one of the things I'm dealing with. This all here, mind you, they had to drop the charges. I was in prison being treated like this on bogus charges they had to drop. Meanwhile, the evidence on my YouTube here, some of the stuff that I was showing you before, like the stuff with Marcia Estrada, that was after the fact. But then there's the stuff like what I was just showing you with Natalie Bollinger, that was before the fact. There's also when I was showing you like Jace Chapel Witness, we didn't stop and listen to that one, but that's one of the people who was witness in Chapel. This right here is abuse that I had to go through because Scott DaCosta wanted to pretend that I was schizophrenic, and him and his coworkers worked together to make this happen. He also intentionally misled me about multiple coworkers that he had, about them leaving for other jobs elsewhere, when in reality he was trying to misrepresent the situation so that he didn't have to turn in his officers, which was his required duty by law. Another thing is the body camera thing. When I talk about the women in those rooms, you know, the gyms, there are women only gyms. They're allowed to have women only gyms, and those women only gyms are allowed to tell a trans person, no, you can't come into our gym. They're allowed to do that. Then there's co-ed gyms. Now we are not allowed to have men's only gyms. I do think that that is important, but I also think it's important to remember that That doesn't mean there will never be a fight, never be violence, and never be a need for a camera. And for much of this, they want evidence that these things happened. That's why I record.
Mm-hmm.
I told the truth about using my food stamps and my Direct Express. That's the government pay card when you're on disability. I used that Direct Express card to also buy her and her son some food. That was Candace. And that was, just a day or two before all of this stuff really went to hell. But this is when I discovered my stuff outside my car. It was 26 minutes in, 25:35, I guess, is when I went outside. So I'll start playing it there.
I remember when I titled this video of this story. Well,
It was nighttime and my camera's shitty, but
Yeah. Checking time, seeing how much longer we have.
not very, I would assume.
Roughly about an hour left.
All right,
my stuff.
there it is. All next to my car.
Apparently,
The whole
while I
side
was
of it.
in the store, Vicky Rain decided to drop all of my things off for me. That was very kind of her.
Sarcasm.
I don't think this is exactly the best way to do it, though. However, I am resourceful, I guess. It's a lot of heavy shit, but I'll get started on it. Sure is awful sweet. I don't know if anything's stolen or how much. I'm not seeing.
All right, I'm gonna pause this just for a minute.
Yeah.
Nearly everywhere I go, the politics of it are the same. People don't want to see homeless people. They don't want their resources wasted on homeless people. They want their resources going to them, and they want homeless people to move to somewhere else where there's apparently an abundance of free resources. Really, they end up spending more money on bus tickets to get people out of town sent on to the next place than they do actually helping people. A lot of these people have disability. The thing is that clerical errors like this, where they gave me the wrong paperwork and they sent me to a place that I was clearly trying to turn in, and they're having me go to the police about stuff that I'm clearly trying to turn in against the police because I've tried to turn it in person and I've tried to find a safe place. But the thing is, I have to be afraid everywhere I go. And also, while I'm going through this stuff, I've got people like Candace. She called me literally like 15 times in one night. And like that, right after I waited all day for her because she was going to do it during the day. But, pretty much we'll do it tomorrow. That usually means during the day. It doesn't mean call me at 9 o'clock at night right after I got tired of waiting and say, oh, by the way, I want you to buy me a bunch of stuff. And I don't mind doing that. But I spent like $400 on junk food. The thing that the police would do is that they send me to a police officer that I'm trying to turn in crimes that are committed against me. While I'm still trying to get paperwork and all that stuff turned in at the courthouse against literally the officer that they're sending, because he's done this in the past where he's assisted my predators in getting away. Blown me off, treated me like I'm retarded, like I hallucinated it. Did I hallucinate, Molly?
I wasn't there for that, but
You're right.
No, she was there.
Yeah.
Oh, so your dad's a witness?
His dad was there. I wasn't there.
So
I was
was
inside the store.
Mom.
Yeah.
So was Scotty.
Yep.
Yep. And also, so was Dallas Palmer. He was there for a couple of different situations, actually. Him and his friends, I think one of his name is Nick, were actually texting to me and trolling me on my YouTube channel. Like watching my YouTube channel while this stuff was going on in the parking lot outside. And they were trying to make me feel threatened and intimidated. And, you know, when I met them in real life, they were like, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was like that. And yeah, you know, we'll help you turn it in. And Dallas, I've got a bunch of recordings with him. It's like I said, a matter of digging it up. But just like you guys, you knew that I was recording, and
Yeah.
you know that those things exist. It's just you see how difficult it is for me to get to this point.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the situation where the staff that were there that night, they told me that I could save it overnight as long as I couldn't bring it into the store because they couldn't be liable or responsible. But they knew that I couldn't get help till the next morning.
Somebody like this.
But the next morning, Rob came out and was a dick
Glad to have
immediately.
it back, but
Meanwhile, people like you, and people like Caleb, and people like Scott, and obviously Scott's mad at me, which is fine. But like you guys were all witnesses to situations that did happen. They are recorded. And the fact that the cops create a safety issue by talking over me in every one of these cases, or by arresting me and locking me up to prevent me from turning them in, or they take me to a hospital and tell the hospital that I'm schizophrenic or delusional, or there's of course the professional courtesy. If you're a homeless person, nobody cares about you. If you're a male, nobody cares about you. Now you're in a hospital hoping that they'll follow protocol because you have to turn in not just your predators, but also the police and all of the organizations that you were sent to, because none of them are doing anything. They need to coordinate instead of victimizing us by not having any clue what's going on or abusing the system.
Right.
And that's all of what I'm dealing with here. I didn't have any hatred toward Rob. What I had hatred for was him, and that there's the guy who he's kind of got a pockmarked face. He's got dark hair that's trimmed up short and usually wears a vest over his shirt. He's one of the managers or assistant managers too. He thought the situation was hilarious. I'm gonna see how far along that is and what date it is.
I guess the only thing to do is start pounding shit in.
Like I said, I was gonna try to show you the stuff that just happened in the last
Real quick, I guess.
few days since I saw you last. And some of that's on my Facebook and some of that's in my phone. So. But like I said, a lot of the stuff that you guys have said on my YouTube channel, if I was to say that, they'd lock me up and say I was threatening to kill people. They would in specific claim that I was threatening to kill Leslie Snell or Alicia Bollinger or, well, one of the many people that I'm trying to keep safe, even though they're fucking idiots, and help Scott DaCosta and help Ted Bollinger and help a lot of other predators. Oh, here's a good one. Based on the background here, I believe that was that maybe Dallas Richmond's. Anyway, like I said about some of the stuff that I was showing you with the professional people saying I need to telling me that I need to move elsewhere. And I'm like, I've already filled out the housing stuff with you. We're doing nothing but stuff about housing. I was in housing in Chapel, Nebraska. The people who were court ordered to do that job, that's Jen Beebe and Nicole Peralta, never bothered to call me back for 6 months. So I got an autism advocate, but this lady wasn't an actual advocate. She was a volunteer, but she was supposed to be a go-between. And I've got all sorts of recordings all throughout here that is stuff. Oh, that's other people's stuff. And Adventist Health Tillamook, that's the hospital I was assaulted in. That's one of the things as well, is that like the people who are there for some of these things and the people who have seen the evidence that I have been trying, I have been writing it down. I have been trying to go to these places, that nobody will look at it. Even if I write it down, they won't do anything about it. One of the things with so much of it though, is that we're not going to get much shoved into your brain in this short amount of time, because it's 6 years of this. And obviously I'm scatterbrained because I'm scared right now because of the amount of time that we don't really have. All right, so Ray Long, this is a friend of mine in Chapel, Nebraska, but this isn't her. There's a whole bunch of these. This is another fake Marie account, and they make these. You see, this one was made April 6th, and they wanted me to be friends with them. See, it says respond, confirm request, message. This is like 6 accounts that she's created, friend request accounts that she's created. She hasn't created them. I've been in contact with her. She hasn't created any more. If you look at the quality of this picture, you see the quality of it.
Yeah.
If we try to zoom in, it's very grainy. Very grainy. And so this has been happening because of the stuff with Natalie Bollinger that's on the internet. This is the one where, you know, obviously assaults the 14-year-old girl. This is just an abridged one because they wanted something that is just in a format that they can see. The problem is I'm having to do that on my lap, record with that on my lap, holding the phone, having and I'm not good with electronics, obviously.
Right.
I'm having to worry about stuff that's getting ready to die, you know, because there's no battery on it. And they go out of their way to ignore it. When that officer the other day, Officer Trent Olson was telling me that like he was talking over me the whole time. I had to sit in the room with him alone. That shouldn't have happened. They were supposed to have a caseworker or a social worker there. That's what they're supposed to do. And in all of this, they're not following that protocol.
Right.
What they're doing is they're calling Tillamook Family Counseling Center that does not have a good reputation here, especially among the homeless. They'll have you fill out a piece of paper every time you go in so that they can bill the government for the tax dollars. There's the cost of the fact that I'm disabled on a fixed income, and I literally couldn't go to the court dates. Was literally prevented from going to court dates. I was sent to prison to prevent me from turning in Leslie Snell and Scott Costa. And, you know, for people to not understand the safety risks for that, or the stuff with my sister where she does have to be afraid for her life, and for my niece's life, like that's screwed up. Let me see, compose. Oh, there you are.
make this small. And hopefully I'm smart enough to do that. If I have some difficulties with it, I apologize. I'm not real good with this kind of stuff.
You're good.
Alright, and then on this one, actually, I'll change this one. I won't send the stuff with. No, I do need to. This is all having to do with that, so I better write it down. Or send it to you, I mean. Come on. All right, this one is one of the ones with my sister. Oh, I don't need to talk to you about this one because I'm just gonna copy link address and then put it in this thing.
Yeah.
My apologies.
You're good.
You have no idea how many times I've done this for people who never looked at it and never spoke up. They just kept on calling me mentally ill so they didn't have to collect evidence. They made it other people's word versus mine by literally not collecting any evidence,
Yeah.
only playing on bias. All right, I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to pull up the stuff just with my sister. Oh, this is the name of the video I'm making right now. Jared Scudder is reading evidence, scammers and bullies.
Gotcha.
Is that an accurate enough description? We might be able to remember it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if that doesn't work, we can always type up your name.
Yeah. They can just look up my name. There isn't very much of me online, but there is me online.
Well, there's also your brother Scott telling me about the situation with the school, and there's your parents telling me about that and how they were the ones that turned them in. I was like, you know what? I hope these people will help me turn it in. I don't want to get kicked in the dick anymore. This one. Here's one where the cops came to harass me.
Excuse me.
These are all from the same day, which is good. That'll make it easy. I'm trying to make sure they're in the timeline. That's the good thing about, all right, you notice when I write on those, how a lot of times it's not consistent with how deep it is. My wrist hurts like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because of the whale and Molotai assault. And I showed you the stuff with him. After showing you the videos with him, there's that piece of paper I was just showing you that's got his name on it at the very top. He assaulted me. His name is on the paperwork. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious the same guy. They should have never allowed him to harm people like that. Nope, it's 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Alright, so I got this in order. This is gonna be the last part of it. There's a lot more with my sister. But this is just 4 of them to get you started. This was just situations that happened after I got out of prison. You're reading the stuff from prison right now.
Yeah.
This is also a situation that involves all of the people who were involved before prison. All of the people that I had to go to try to turn in Scott DaCosta. Also happened to be all of the professionals that Scott DaCosta used after the fact to try to prevent me from turning them all in.
Right.
Same thing they're doing here in Tillamook. I'm sure both of you guys have had experiences and friends with experiences at the hospital here. Seems to me everybody says they would rather drive to Portland. And also I wanted to point out the Dual County Sheriff's Department, as well as Chesapeake Police Department, and that's in Virginia, and Boulder Police Department, and Broomfield Police Department, and Aurora Police Department, and of course Dual County, but I probably already said that. There was a bunch of counties that were already involved in the situation before Natalie was killed. But none of them followed protocol. They all gave me the mentally ill treatment and the homeless male treatment and blew me off. It was, I don't know if you've ever tried to help find a missing person who was homeless when they went missing, but the cops don't care.
Right.
This right here, by making sure that there is no audio recording, they just make these. They can say anything that they want and pretend that it's true. It doesn't matter if it's not even words that you use, they'll write it down anyway. Don't you dare tell on a sheriff's department. Don't you dare tell on jail guards. They have the power, you have none. The processes by which we're supposed to follow when we're abused, they're not going to let you follow. They're going to just harass you and intimidate you, and if you're in the mental ward, make fun of you incessantly and tell you that you chose it and deserved it, and that you wouldn't be there if you weren't guilty. I'm also trying to find the paperwork here that shows that they dropped all the charges, because that's important too. All right, Jill Gookin, that would be with Colorado stuff. It just, they just kept shipping me from one jurisdiction to another. When I'd try to turn in cops, they'd have me sent to a hospital in a different jurisdiction. Or they'd send me to a hospital and they'd refuse to allow me to show my evidence, which is what they claimed I was going there to do. Some of these, there's quite a few of them that say stuff like deputy or badge number, and it says deputies refused. I've also got recordings of Tillamook police officers refusing to give me their badge numbers, their names, or their cards. They were very disrespectful about it. They kept on giving me the wrong forms repeatedly and then telling me that I couldn't do it because I did it on the wrong form. So I'd do it on the new form, they'd tell me that was the wrong form, or they would just outright deny me access to those things. Put me on disciplinary because I was trying to get access to my legal materials. You can see, obviously, with the evidence that I've shown you, between that and the sheer number of names on here, like, that is obviously not the same thing as what's on the cameras. That's not the same thing that Marcia Estrada said, it's not the same thing that any of the people that I saw personally said. It was only when they said, go ahead.
So bad,
Sorry.
it's good.
Oh, I love it. Demon deer.
Is that why the devil went down to Georgia?
Might be.
Alright, so that's like 4 of them there. I'm gonna send you that now, and then I'm gonna, the last week has been hell. I mean, since the last time I saw you, that video that I was just showing you, A Better Tomorrow is what it's called. There's also the stuff with Rob coming out and being a dickhead. There's also quite a few recordings with Caleb. Like, the thing is, if I don't record it, then there's no proof that I tried. The other thing is that it's proof that the cops are making a quote-unquote mentally ill man run around and do their jobs and getting blown off at every corner because it's supposed to be a cop's job.
Yeah.
Why are cops forcing disabled people to do the job of the police and then expending so many resources after the fact to try to hide it when we're actually pretty successful at digging stuff up? I mean, Caleb didn't have a problem with trying to turn it in. The problem is the cops wouldn't call him, and, well, he had work. If they come and talk to him, he will. Now, obviously, if you see the cops talking to a guy on the street, you assume that man must have done something wrong in general. When you see a cop talking to a woman on the street, you assume somebody did something wrong to her. And that is how most Americans think. All right, I'm gonna send this to you just because it shows, at the beginning, it's got the thing with Joan Hansen, or with my sister and I, and then it's got Joan Hansen talking to us in it. After that is things about people threatening and harassing my sister. And then I gotta put in some stuff that's with, cause I had to literally flee the area, and I had to go all the way back to McCook, Nebraska, and to my friend Mandy Singer's house, and she was gonna help me. But my God, dude, she's in low income and they put her through hell. And holy shit. She did rip me off, but not intentionally. She ripped me off because she was trying to get the best deal that she could. The problem is it took a lot of time. And then by the time I was able to get there, it was after Scott DeCosta and Leslie Snell pretending again that I was a stalker who was threatening to kill them. That's those sermons that I was trying to show you the other day, the ones with where I was saying that Jesus said we're all gonna die, we all deserve to die. But that is not the same thing as saying that it's okay to kill somebody. And
Yeah.
I'm against killing. But what they did is they tried to paraphrase little tiny parts of it to claim I was threatening to kill them. No, the whole thing was about how it's wrong to kill people, and about how these people in the government who are telling me it'll take an act of God, or they want to push religion on me instead of doing their jobs. That is a clear violation of church and state, and it's also a clear violation which shows their bias. If I'm not a Christian, then you're not going to do your job for me. Well, that's not acceptable. And when I made that, then I got Polly Olson, who's in prison now. You got to see that part. She was one of the people who was involved in doing and saying crap like that, and so was Leslie Snell. And, well, her husband rather, and some other folks that they're related to and friends with. Primarily they're friends, but the thing is that the situation with Clint Snell threatening to kill me and being told that by his brother really makes it hit a lot closer to home, because it's a lot more likely to be true. I didn't know that was Clint Snell's brother when he told me. A lot of the recordings here also, like with Mandy Singer, she did look at some of these videos and she looked at some of this stuff too. But with her stuff going on and everything that dropped on her, and then us having to be afraid of the police because they literally murdered a man in the Walmart parking lot in broad daylight over somebody else getting a mental health call. The cop ran into the dude's vehicle. The guy wasn't trying to run over the cop or anything. The cop was embarrassed, pulled out his gun, and killed the father of two. All right, now there's some stuff. Let's see. This one's called, well, my sister is coming to help me turn in my paperwork. Let's hope I'm allowed this time. Oh, this one right here is more recent. It's from 3 days ago, but if you see, that's the actual message, one of the ones that I was showing you in my phone about from my sister. This one's called Making Sure It's Documented, Sister's Harassment. This one's called Calling Other Witnesses. I'm not sure what witnesses they are, but they're from a year ago. Let's see, the situation with Zach Richmond is related to that. Oh, you see this one? It's called Chapel, Nebraska, Zach Richmond's 6th upload attempt on YouTube 11 months ago. It took forever to get this one. The guy's on methamphetamines. That's one of the things I'm going to show you with his sister. I've been letting her know what's going on, but she is afraid that nobody's going to do anything no matter what. And that's the thing with most of these people. They don't even look at, you've looked at more than nearly everybody except for Mandy Singer.
Yeah.
She did look at a lot. She also followed instructions and is playing enemy at the moment, which is good. It keeps her and her family slightly more safe until they have an environment where they can safely turn it in without being treated like crackheads. She did rip me off, but not on purpose. There's so much I gotta try to remember. And then I have to try to get the stuff with the hospital here in Tillamook and all of that done, or the last few days here in Tillamook even. Well, not there, it goes here. All right, there's stuff here with Dallas Palmer and with Dallas Richmond. Oh, this one's Dallas from last night. Okay, this one I might want to need to save for later. These ones, he talks about the situation, so it is important. And I do check in with him in most of them, just like I was checking in with you guys if the cops talk to you. thing with my sister being scared, you know, with you being able to see that, that's something that you can help to testify about if you're not too afraid, because we are in a different state. And also, like, you see, that's one of the things that they make complicated. That's one of the things about sending people out of jurisdiction and sending them away from their friends and family and their own resources like that. All right, I should probably send that one there. There's a lot more to it. But let's see, dinner and visitors, watching people's things. Any one of these might have, because a lot of times when Mr. Farnsworth was doing his stuff, he'd do it when I was already recording. And I can't remember the name of everyone that I was making, so it ends up with me scrolling through. Let's see. Oh, the racist on the Greyhound bus. Oh, yeah. This is 2 years ago. Broken history about Chelsea, Nebraska. Oh, that lady whose computers I found, Tiffany Charpentier. This one's about gang stalking. This one probably has a bunch of gang stalking in it. You see how many there are, though? Like, there's a lot to go through. Here's another call to the FBI. This one's 3 years ago. Like, I legit called them. This is a legit call with them. Trying to turn in Scott the cost of it. Just like with the recordings that I have with the cops here. As soon as I start having a panic attack and start talking faster, they start getting irate and pissed off and trying to send me to somebody else. You want to see some of the threats against my life? Let's see. Oh, it says I'm offline again. You see how difficult that is? Just trying to stay online.
Reconnected.
All right. Message requests, maybe. There's also the spam call. There's a lot of these here. Or somebody will get a hold of me. This one you see, it's from March 24th, 2023. And they do this, and then they get a hold of me and they harass me on this. And when I don't answer them fast enough, see this guy got pissed off that I didn't answer his phone call at 6:07 a.m. and it says, this person is unavailable on Messenger. There's ones like those. There's also the ones with, I forgot. Oh, here's Nicole Knudsen. That's the sister of the guy that I sent this stuff to. Oh, yes. This is one of the numbers from just the last few days, the scammer number. He's still doing it. And that's one of the things about my number being given out. On the bright side, this time I can at least try to blame myself for it. Trying to turn in evidence to bias hotline. That's the name of it. This one right here was from before Natalie was killed. Here is a little bit further up. Let's see, here she's talking about how she does care. She also talks about how crooked the cops are and they won't listen. She types, who would you like me to tell? The police? Because we both know they won't treat you well. So why would I do that? And who else can help? No one that she knows of. She's afraid to go to the cops, same as everyone else. Afraid the cops will hurt me, like they have done repeatedly. This one's important, so I'm gonna, let's see, copy link address. Am I talking too much for you to get anything done?
No.
I'm just realizing there's a lot more evidence here that would be easy to send you.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm running into that instead of the stuff I'm looking for, oh God, I think I did that wrong actually.
On the war.
This is how I should do it. This one right here, this is literally the email that I exposed Natalie Bollinger's dad with, right here. All right, and I'll play the video now if that's okay.
With all of you, you are my enemies. You weren't gonna fight for my human rights, but you want me to fight for yours. You want me to stick up for yours, even when you're wrong. It's wrong to want special rights for you. It is. This truth bullshit is fucking bullshit. Blaming good men is bad men.
December 12th, this is the day before Natalie made her last public post.
I didn't choose this. I didn't choose this for any of you. There's a thing I just posted. Somebody sent it to me. Somebody who pretended to give a shit.
Natalie Bollinger.
Somebody who pretended to care. I have people threatening me, threatening my life, threatening my family's life, calling me a child molester, calling me a rapist over this girl. The dude who fucking raped her called me up and threatened me over her.
Tim Beeson.
The guy who stole her fucking dog.
That's Tim Beeson too.
Fucking molested her when she was underage.
Tim Beeson.
Called me up to threaten my life. To threaten my family's life.
I've also
You
got
thought he was gonna scare me with a motorcycle club? Are you fucking kidding me, Tim, the bitch boy fucking Beeson? You child molested fuck? Right here. Yeah, it's not me that's gonna fucking rape you, it's your goddamn dad.
Statistically, it is.
But you treat me like shit for it. And then you treat the guys who tried to fucking kill you like fucking kings. I'm not afraid of the cops. I'm not.
Now this is like 3 weeks
I want
before
them
she
to
was
come
shot
get
in the
me.
head. I
I want
definitely
them
wanted
to
them to
fucking
end
kill
it.
me. I want to be done with you people and your goddamn excuses. I don't deserve this fucking cruelty. Tim deserves this cruelty. Ted deserves this cruelty.
By that time, I'd gotten so sick and tired of having to go to the cops alone, for them to brush me off, blow me off, tell me I just need to man up, tell me they had real police work to do, telling me I got to go to mental health services. I go to mental health services and I just spend all of my money on those services, going back time and time again. See, by this point, I was at the end of my rope. I had been harmed so many times. And of course, this is a video that I made because I needed to. I needed to get help stopping it. Obviously, all the friends that I had gone to for an entire year before that, they treated me like I'm a disabled homeless male. Oh yeah, Sean, we love you, but you just need to ignore it. How easy is it to ignore Molly? How easy is it to ignore Farnsworth when he's in your face at a church screaming at you? And how does it feel when the church person comes out and tells you not on church property? Get rid of all this crap.
Pop this just one pop like so. In the process of doing all this, I was also trying to organize and make it a little bit easier on you.
This is the post I exposed Ted and Tim in with Natalie's words and EXPLAINED why I was not the same. I mean, literally shit like that cuts you off from your friends and family.
Yeah.
I'm gonna title that one Natalie's Death. And we haven't gotten anything sent as far as what happened in the last few days. So how much more time do I have?
We're running on the last like 10 minutes.
Alright, so I'm not gonna be able to do that, am I?
It doesn't look like today. It's gonna take about as much time as what we just took here.
Well, the longer I'm stuck in that parking lot, the more likely it is people are gonna harm me, and especially with Candace being pissed. Can I at least try to play that one for you?
Yeah.
Alright, because there's a bunch of these, but... Isn't that a nice name for it? Alright.
It's still going, it's just going slow.
Right. Well, this one is called A Better Tomorrow. Can we write that down so you have it written down? That's the start of when she dropped that stuff off at my car. The video is called A Better Tomorrow. And Candace is Kandyce. She's the one that's in this video that I'm trying to play.
Threatening me. This is Candace, the lady who I spent dollars feeding her and her son.
There, she spat on my vehicle.
She just spat on my windshield. And her and this old guy just came by and threatened me and threatened my property. Anyway, so they're over here threatening me at my vehicle. Now, because I was kind to them, I've got them over here threatening me at my vehicle. I have to record for my safety. And none of these people understand that.
Okay, I got it saved. A Better Tomorrow and Candace yelling and throwing stuff.
Alright.
And this is one of the things that is tough about being a male. This is Candace. She's the lady that
what's her name, Amber was talking about her meth addiction. They just threw something in my vehicle.
Heard the clunk, right?
Whatever it is, let's see what they threw.
See, I don't have to tell you what's going on. You can see it for yourself.
Vehicle right there.
That way, if there's a communication issue with me being able to speak because I'm scared, at least the video shows the truth of it.
Yeah.
That drink on the ground was what she threw at my vehicle. And she got out and picked it up and drank it, so at least it didn't go to waste.
Anyway, oh, they're pulling up right next to my vehicle again. They're throwing stuff in my vehicle, threatening bodily harm, threatening my vehicle.
And the guy behind me is with Candace, and they're talking while I'm trying to apologize to the guy telling me it's
They're
recording
being
and
very,
he's
very,
watching me.
very belligerent.
Lots of people got problems with me posting on YouTube, but I'm stuck in public. It's not a choice.
Yeah.
When people try to push housing, like they're magically going to do something once I'm in housing. What about between now and when I'm in housing? I still need to turn into crimes.
Yeah.
There's also non-stop clerical errors like this crap here.
Her son is not on my channel. He's angry. And that's all right.
And then also later in the video, I go into their store and apologize to them. But the rest of it, like you can see, it's a 30-minute video.
Yeah.
Maybe only like 5 minutes with her in it, at most 3 minutes, something like that. I mean, it's a very scary situation.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that I was feeding her, you know, her and her son. I wasn't trying to beat them or berate them or rape them or molest them or anything of that sort.
Are you
had
sure?
good You're a dick. Also, Marie Long, she's a friend of mine and she's my niece's grandma.
Okay.
And I'm having a lot of these fake accounts that keep coming up. This
Trying
was
to be
from
her.
2 days ago. There's more of them in here, yeah, and they've been doing this. This guy's Bill Jensen. He's one of my predators and stalkers. There's also a whole bunch of them. Nicole Knudsen. This is this lady here.
Mm.
I do send her quite a bit. Here I explained to her about the illegal firearm I was forced to make and where it was at so she could help to turn it in. Here's some of the stuff that shows that yes, this stuff is on the internet. I am harmed by it. It does exist.
Mm-hmm.
Here's it's called calling the FBI to. This one's funny. I mean, it's not. They literally just hang up on me.
This is
All right, we do have to go, don't we?
Yeah, we're
I'm
just
sorry
at the
about
end.
that.
You're fine. But as you can see, the pile is now stacked and organized. I wasn't able to organize by date only because I was trying to get all the information I could as fast as possible. But
Well,
I
the
was
stuff
at
with
least
Sarah
able to.
Nelson, I tried to put all in one place.
Yep.
The stuff for Michelle Decini, I tried to put in one place because both of those two are in prison for stuff I said they did.
Yep. So the Sarah Nelson stuff is back here,
All right.
and the Nate Schwab a little bit, but that was because of where it was placed.
Also, this is their clerical error at the hospital. They always make clerical errors, every time make
Yeah.
clerical errors. So this is stuff that needs to be addressed too. Since you know more than everybody else now, if you wanted to talk to anybody about it, I would be okay and comfortable and free with you being able to do that.
Okay.
Believing that you would not intentionally misrepresent the situation.
No.
And that if you did fuck up, you'd admit it, because it's not like
Right.
you're trying to do it.
So now I have it separated. So this stuff here on the bottom, that is the Sarah Nelson stuff.
Okay?
Everything above that is all of the correspondence between you, the wardens, the medical staff, and the like Dr. Cunnard and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. So you understand now, hopefully a little bit with the stuff here and with the stuff there, how
Yeah.
like I am extremely unsafe and there's literally no way that I can do this.
Right.
And there's also literally no way that your dad can keep coming every day and doing this stuff. He's got his own abilities and
Well, I
disabilities. We do
don't
have to work
understand
around
any
them.
of this anyways, I'm just here.
Here
Cause
to
I
be a
did witness one
Mm-hmm.
thing. I did witness one thing, and that was at Fred Meyer's parking lot.
Yep, and with me, I've been trying to, like just right here, I was able to get a lot done because somebody was here, even though most of what I was doing was talking. Because it is recorded on my YouTube channel,
Yeah.
kind of an abridged version of what's going on, and kind of trying to show you where to look for stuff. Also, the stuff that I sent you with my sister about her being threatened,
Yeah.
about me having to flee, about me having to do that everywhere. The stuff with Jamie, obviously, where am I safe?
Yeah.
When they try to send me to a homeless shelter, how safe is that really?
Right.
And the reality of it is, because I'm not able to take care of myself, that means that I can't defend myself. It makes me an easy victim. And if I'm not being heard by the police, then I will be victimized repeatedly. And obviously, the police want to send me to other people.
Yeah.
It's the cop's job to do this. And because I'm disabled, it is APS's job to get involved and make sure that the cops do their job.
Yeah.
And they say that it's not their job to police the police. Like, you don't need to police the police. You need to show up so they don't need police.
Yeah.
All right. I told it to shut down. I hope it shuts down. Why did I do it twice? Oh yeah, because it's so slow that it lets me. I'm packing stuff up now.
Yep. Yeah. We'll get everything all situated.
Dear YouTube, I've been making sure that I document everything that I'm trying to do and trying to show, and at least you get to hear it and he gets to see it, so you don't get a bunch of people's private information or anything like that. You don't have to see anybody's phone numbers or anything like that. All right. Now, if I'd have been able to get it running properly, I would have turned on the video recording on the YouTube, because I'm actually better at doing it on the phone with a lot of this.
Right. Well, the phone's a lot more versatile. You can move it around a lot more.
Like I said, there was a lot of stuff in foreign languages about Natalie Bollinger, but the problem is that with being able to go to your house and show it to you with the stuff on the computer, a lot of the abilities I'm not able to do on the phone, no matter how hard I try, I still need the computer for. And being able to show you in person saves me literally hundreds of hours of having to try to... I can show you people who I've spent hundreds of hours sending them blocks and blocks of evidence that never did anything with it. And it doesn't occur to them that I have nothing to work with. And the longer I'm spent doing that, instead of working with them to turn it in, the more likely I am to get screwed over more and again.
Yeah.
This is from Arapahoe. The 8 most corrupt counties in Colorado, and the 8 most corrupt jails. I was in 5 of them in the state of Colorado. Larimer County, which several people here in Tillamook are fleeing abuse in Tillamook County from law enforcement. One of them, her name is Claire, and she's actually a missing person right now, and that would take forever to dig up. The thing is, with 3 hours here, how much of this stuff with the audio recording devices am I going to be able to work with?
Right.
Having to depend on other people to help me carry stuff so that I don't end up being stuck in my car, hopefully not shitting myself for a couple of days, you know? Like, if I can't stand up, I might shit myself. Are you glad I told you that?
Hey, it doesn't bother me any. Shoot, before leaving the house today, I literally had to go run to the bathroom.
Well, when I was in all those parking lots where I'm still having to stay and steadily ended up with less and less because of bias and hatred, like, really, it would have been nice if I never would have been in a situation where people had the opportunity to rip me off for everything I had.
Right.
And I just stick my fingers in my eyeballs after washing jalapenos off of them no more than an hour ago.
Alright, it might have been 4 hours ago. Now the thing with the evidence is it's obviously here. The thing is your dad being a witness to one of those situations, it's definitely here. By the way, you're witness to more situations than that. You're also a witness to the situations that prevented you from being able to come in. And you were busy or you had to try to feed your family and things like that. That's all recorded. It's also easier for me not to have to go through all those recordings because you at least repeated it again, so I don't have to go through the recordings for all that part.
Making these easier to deal with.
Very nice, thank you. Oh shit, I forgot to take my clandestine device and take everything off of me. Also, I'm pretty sure it didn't record the conversation earlier because I've used it so much, and sometimes that becomes an issue too.
Yeah, where it starts to wear on the battery.
You know. Trent Olson, I was gonna show you his video. I'm sorry I focused on previous stuff today, but that's the stuff that resulted in me being here in this situation.
In the first place, yeah.
There's also devices like this that I'm having problems being able to use. I'm
Is it
not
like
real
a
great with
GoPro
it.
or something like that?
Yeah. This is stuff that I had to buy because people told me to record it. A lot of times people will commit a crime and then they'll come and assault me for recording their crime. Robert Franklin Warnick did that. That's how they were able to try to entrap me in Nebraska to have me put in prison. Claimed that I was stalking him. No, I just got sick and tired of having to walk 13 blocks to get to the fucking post office so that I could avoid being victimized by Robert Franklin Warnick. I was tired of having to peer into a window before going into an establishment because Chris Kurth might be in there, or Carl Snell might be in there, or somebody who's local in a small town in a small area where bias owns everything.
Right.
And obviously with Candace yesterday, I mean, obviously that's a scary situation for me.
Yeah.
And then with the situation with Vicky Rain and all of that.
As well.
Thank you, sir.
Of course. Get the computer now that it's turned off.
Now, one of the things about these people, everybody who wants to tell me this is hearsay or that's hearsay. No, somebody telling me that they've been victimized, if I try to turn it in, that's hearsay. But if I have evidence that they did in fact say it or type it, that's not hearsay. That is in fact evidence.
That is physical
Ohio,
evidence. What's up?
94,900, 5-bedroom house.
Okay, I'll hand you that. I already unplugged it. I'm gonna pull underneath here.
Ohio.
Now, there's also the stuff with me having Tourette syndrome and all the paperwork with that, and I've been trying to dig for all that, and trying to get it. It's been sent to multiple places that I've lived, but by the time it gets sent there, I'm already having to move somewhere else because of victimization. Like, people don't realize I'm on the street, I'm not a local, I do have to be afraid every day.
Right.
Also, a lot of the locals that have mental problems, other locals are using their mental problems as an excuse why it's okay for them to do that, and that's not okay either.
Hey, come here, I need to beat you. It's okay.
Well, yeah, it would be okay, unfortunately.
It's no longer child abuse.
But that means that I'll hit you back.
That's
And I don't
okay.
think you want to deal with that.
You would kill him on accident if you did that. That's not cool.
Only
Now
slightly.
here's the thing, you guys are saying that, and if I was to say that and it was to be recorded on my YouTube channel, you know what would happen? The police would be here arresting me right now, no joke, and I can show you how that's happening. And I didn't even say stuff like that. Like, the stuff that I said was mild by comparison. And what you guys are saying is just basic man stuff.
Yeah, manslaughter.
Men show their respect for each other. Men show their respect for each other by being mutually disrespectful.
Exactly. It is our human prerogative.
Your human what?
Exactly.
Oh, here's some more.
You're
Teresa
using big words
Royer,
I can't
and
understand anymore.
I mean, there's a bunch more that we haven't
Yeah.
gone through. But obviously, that Sarah Nelson lady does exist. Was
Yeah.
that not her handwriting? Well,
Literally.
maybe not.
Well,
You can't tell if it's
I
hers
can't
or
tell
not,
the
but it's not
handwriting, but
mine.
it is. I can tell that it's, you know, her name on the paperwork, and it's not from this year.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that when I tried to turn it in, just like when I showed you the Clearview stuff, when I
Yeah.
show you that I was actually in there, or here, this is the one, Glenn Biggs.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are like, Mr. Biggs? Oh my God, because I couldn't remember his first name. You're making it up. Nope, I'm not.
Literally, I seen the name. I seen the paperwork.
Yeah. So that's what I keep trying to explain, is that these officers blow me off. They make any excuse, talk over me, talk down to me.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when they ignore it long enough, a lot of people, like with Molly,
Yeah.
that sexist bias is the reason I had to leave that situation. And then there's the same thing here with Vicky Rain. And there's also the fact that the van that was there, they need to go find that out. The one that I showed you, the reason for that is it's got the time and date stamp on it.
Yeah.
So they know when it happened.
Yeah.
You can see me getting out of my vehicle, going into the store, coming out, and all that stuff was there. I'm in the store less than 30 minutes.
Right.
All right, I'm almost ready, sir. And thank you, gentlemen.
He's the mule anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I was making a joke with him about that earlier too, and that's one of the things that sucks. It's like my disability's preventing me from carrying this shit just up
Yeah.
to here. Can you see how? Well, you had back injuries. Could you have carried this shit up here repeatedly, day in, day out, to try to do this 3 hours
I
at a
don't know,
time?
but I did your storage unit, so I don't know.
You could now, but when you had your injuries, when they first happened,
Here, Dad.
that probably would have been difficult.
That down.
That's a trouble thing.
Unless you want to carry the paperwork. I just don't have enough hands, man.
What's wrong? I thought you used both. All
I'm
four.
ambidextrous, but there's only
All four.
all four.
Yeah,
There's
I
only
thought you had monkey feet.
I do, but unfortunately I can't use my
He goes down
toes.
to the river and he catches crawdads with his toes, in between his toes.
I've done that.
Monkey toes.
My little sister couldn't do that because she would have crushed him in half with her freaking toes. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
But my toes literally can split like this. Like I have full motion control of my toes.
All
All
right.
right. Oh,
I gotta put that in
Ooh.
my pocket.
You good?
that was my knee.
Anyway, one of the things is, you know, the more I'm able to show you, they need to take it seriously and
Yeah.
understand that I'm afraid and that this is a very dangerous situation for me.
Oh, for sure.
And, you know, the sooner I can get as much of that for you to be able to see, for you to be able to verify that and tell them, hey, he's unsafe. He is being stalked. He is being harassed. These things are happening.
Yeah.
Like, did I show you the videos that I had with the guy who stalked me here from Hood River?
No, we didn't get to watch that video, but you did
There was
send me
6
a
of
bunch
them.
of stuff.
Yeah, it might be in those. There's like 6 or 7 of them, including at the Fred Meyer's Starbucks.
Yeah.
He did that twice at the Fred Meyer's Starbucks, by the way. Let me get the door from. Ah, God damn it.
Got it.
Yeah, well, I was standing here, I could hear a little bit. So it wasn't so quiet, but it's still quiet. Yeah.
Well, like I said, that's one of the things that I worry about. A library is the easiest place to get kicked out of.
Right.
Oh, same thing over at your house too. No disruptions, nothing like that. It's a matter of having to get the stuff in here and get it back out. And also a matter of having someone look at it and listen to me while I talk, because sometimes, like when it comes to making an oral report, I'm able to do that, but a written report isn't so easy. I've got a lot of stuff that is written down right there. Obviously, you were just reading through a bunch of stuff I wrote down. But no matter what, it was either it's not on the official parchment, or it's not on the right parchment, or you have to send that to Nebraska State Patrol. Nebraska State Patrol is just going to tell you it's not their job. You have to send this to a judge or that to a judge. You have the right to send stuff to a judge, and then the judge tells you it's not appropriate, and they didn't read it and they sent it back. I mean, Helping Hands, I'm told that I can't go to Helping Hands without a recommendation, and I have to call them. I did call them once, but there was no answer. And the services that I went to in this town, I let them know that I was going to call Helping Hands after every time that I went to one of these services.
Yeah.
And they did call Helping Hands and tell me that they didn't have any room. But also, since then, I've had a lot of the homeless people tell me about what a nightmare it is there if you're not a heroin addict.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Also, that lady Molly that I was having an issue with, the guy that was with her, his name is Tom, and he's still in town, which means Molly is probably still in town, or might could be. And I know that Mr. Farnsworth is still in town, which is the whole reason that I haven't been coming into town. And now with all the safety down there, I got to come up to the library to do this.
Yeah.
That's not a major complaint. It's just when you have a bunch of stuff like this that eats up time, eats up travel, and eats up other people's time because you're dependent on them. God, your poor mom. She sat in the vehicle that whole time?
Yeah.
Let's get these in the car real quick.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I don't want anything getting wet.
Well, I'm sure you're... about the most useful person who's been here in a while.
Good.
I understand your dad has issues with that stuff, so I'm glad that you're here, because at least we know each other's differences and stuff, or getting to know it a little bit. Thank you, sir. I should have showed, well, I did show you the thing with Candace.
Yeah.
I get a lot of that stuff. It's not just Candace, that 14-year-old girl, her stepdad's been doing stuff like that too. And, you know, Molly kept on doing all that stuff. I don't want to be here. I don't want to record it live. I don't want I want to turn any crimes that are committed against me and be left the fuck alone and not victimized for not wanting to be victimized.
Yeah.
Oh, hold the line. I'm talking 400 miles a minute.
Oh, you're good.
Let me make sure I grab my phone.
I was like,
I know you were. But like I said, I always feel bad when I can't record it. Because then if somebody can't find out who did it, I'll admit when I fuck up. No problem.
right?
Oh,
Here, let me get the door.
oh, yes, just don't close it. Hello. I wanted to say thank you very much for the use of your boys. And I'm sorry that the things that we had planned for today didn't go down. There was a couple of situations that happened with my stuff. And also with the lady wanting to scream at me and threaten me and throw stuff at my...
Literally throw a drink at his car in the parking lot of Sporting Goods.
I'm good at pissing people off. God bless America. I only spent $400 on feeding her and her son, so I don't feel too terrible about it. But anyway, thank you very much, and I'm sorry we didn't get it done. I can try to possibly do something here in the morning by myself if I just pick up a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And then I don't know when you're going to be available next to try. I know
So it'll probably be next week, because tomorrow I've since I didn't get around to doing chores this week, I've got to get my chores done tomorrow, which means we got to do dishes and stuff like that.
Yes, sir. Well, see, that's all stuff that is completely different from what the cops try to say if I go in alone, which is he didn't try to get help, he was denying services, so on and so forth. No, I went to the services, they weren't helping.
Right.
The only time they really were anywhere close to decent is when your mom went in with me, and then they kind of talked a little nicer. And the one lady at the Office of Aging and Disability, like that lady was so sweet. But the next lady that I got, when your mom wasn't there, treated me completely different and told me a whole different set of rules.
Yeah.
So, I mean, having somebody there is the difference.
Yeah.
And also, when they try to say I didn't try to get help, when you guys got chores to do, that's not my fault, but I'm also not a bad person for saying, hey, they got chores to do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. You guys rock.
Of course, bud.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody needs hugs.
Everybody deserves hugs.
Right, and you don't hug me like an asshole.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna.
I only do that to Bodie because he asked for it.
I'm gonna see if I can get my email thing to work over the internet.
Okay.
But one of the things is I do have some money from selling my kayak.
Okay.
If there's a possible, it's really an emergency with me being on the streets and with me turning this stuff in. They really need to do something and put me somewhere in the next few days. If they don't, it might result in me being harmed further or even worse than that.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the things that I really need people to understand. I don't have a friend or family member here that is taking me under their wing. One lady who wanted to take me into her house, she's nuts.
Unfortunately, that's a lot of people around here are nuts.
It is a lot of people.
I'm one of them, but I mean, at least I can keep my sanity in check for a little bit.
And you're not strung out on meth. You're not strung out on, you don't seem to be strung out on meth or heroin.
Nope.
All right, be safe.
Never touched it.
I'm going to go back to bitching that we didn't get anything turned in today.
All right.
But next time we go in, if there's a time that you're able to maybe get something done this week, if you're able to possibly walk up there with me to one of these places that they keep sending me to and explain it to them,
Yeah.
the situation.
I get you.
Your mom was there for part of it. Your dad was there for part of it. Scott was there for part of it. You can also ask him what an asshole I am, because I am.
Right.
I admit it. I do shit because I'm fucking scared shitless because I'm out here.
Yeah.
I can't function until I have a place where I'm not.
Well, like we looked at today, you wouldn't even be out here if it wasn't for everything that already happened.
Yep, exactly. And when they don't understand that the Natalie Bollinger thing does follow me everywhere,
Yeah.
it really truly does, and they're looking completely away from that, from all the people that continue to threaten me and harass me, and the fact that because I was never allowed to go to court, like they get to use reputation to harm me now. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to it. I'll try to organize stuff. Maybe I'll put some pieces of that blue tape that I have on it. That way I can, the stuff that I'll listen to the video of us today.
Yeah.
And I'll go through it and I'll find the parts that I wasn't able to send to you or show you.
Yeah.
And I'll write them down on a notepad that I got a pencil out.
All right.
With hyperextending my fingers yesterday though, or day before yesterday, it's kind of difficult.
No, I get you.
All right.
But yeah, just give me the rest of the information. I'll go through it as soon as I can. Do we have anything planned for next Monday? Mom's usually the one with the schedule, so. Nothing? Okay. Do we want to try for next Monday?
That'll work.
All right.
Absolutely. If there's a time that you end up with some spare time between now and then, though, I do want to try to go down and make sure that the cops take the report on the situation the other night. And if any of you guys are able to do that, it wouldn't take all of you. It'd just take one of you.
Yeah.
All right.
Even if I have to call it in myself, you know what I mean? You sent me the video of Candace and everything.
Yeah. And
so I have the evidence on my person because I carry my emails on my phone. So if I have to call them myself and just have them come to my house, I'll get it taken care of.
All right, thank you. If you do, recording it is important because otherwise, if I try to take it to court and something else goes down, they can say, well, nobody ever tried going in with him. Nobody tried this. Obviously, he's full of it, like they've done repeatedly.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I got you.
I'll message you.
All right, sounds good.
Be safe. Thank you, Jared. Uh, uh, uh. Anyway, obviously not people who are out to get me. Obviously not people who are out being hateful. Just like many of the people who are angry with me. Was it really hate or was it fear? With many of them, it absolutely was fear. And for good reason. For me, I try to show people what we're going through as we're doing it, just so that I can show them where the evidence is at, not that they'll be able to remember it. I should have held my phone up to it to make sure that happened. But as you guys see, we did spend a couple of hours, three hours today. Because of the situation with Candace, I'm in a state of complete crisis. And that is not their fault. Because of the Natalie situation, I'm unsafe in public. Because of homelessness, I'm stuck in public. And that only happened because cops didn't want to do their jobs. Nationwide, it's like that. So having to wait until next Monday to turn it in, if that's what it takes, I can wait. I have to. I don't have a choice. But also, I'm stuck in a car in a parking lot that I'm not supposed to even... Well, it's got signs all over saying overnight parking. And people there have been real nice to me and real kind to me. But you see how if I'm victimized in a particular area by people there, what all those people have to do, like Molly, is play victim. I know all them tricks. So when a woman or a man starts playing victim, a man might actually listen, maybe. But I know that once a woman starts doing that, she's already decided it in their head. And the best I can do is try to avoid her and the situation. If I'm not able to do that because she's spreading rumors, yeah, I'm gonna fucking freak out because people are allowed to harm me over this shit. And have for years. Anyway, I'm glad that the Scudders exist. And I feel real bad that they had to deal with me again while I'm in a state of panic. That we didn't get much done because I was too busy trying to fill them in on 10 million things at once. And it's that complication, the sheer quantity of complicatedness that goes into it that they try to prey on. After all of their throwing down their fancy names of people who are literally, you've got 20 names to try to fucking play down on one hobo. They put their names there. They don't investigate anything. They don't look at any fucking evidence. They just, well, put their names down. It makes for a stronger case. Well, not if they never take it to court. They just write all that down to make you look like you're the bad guy. But you know what? They did the same thing with Zeta Atkinson. You should see how many officers' names were on that saying that Boulder Police Department didn't do anything wrong. Why do I still stick up for Zeta Atkinson if I don't respect him because he sold a false narrative? Because he's still a victim. And I firmly believe that no victim should be left behind. You know how I end these videos. Good to be with you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and your sister's, and no victim left behind. And I think now that I figured out how to change and edit stuff on my phone a little bit, what I'm going to do is go back to some of the older videos and I'm going to start putting people's names to the witnesses that were called. Kind of like I did with King and Nichols. At first, I was just calling it a witness from Hungary, but then I added her name to it, King and Nichols. so that people would know exactly who I was talking about. Proof that I told the truth. Now it's so complicated, I feel bad for anybody who even tries to look. That's something at least that Vicky Rain admitted to. That there is so much to it. There is so much evidence there, and it is so complicated. She agreed with me that it really is torture. It really is torture being so much of it. It would overwhelm anyone.